In today's video, we're going to be looking at how do you property partner, how do you select, I guess, your commercial properties, Xavier? What sort of due diligence do you look at specifically within the commercial kind of space and what makes a property exciting?
Well, I suppose from my experience, the simple litmus paper test is a given. Now that, to me, that's kind of normal work in progress, and somebody else might find that a bit of a struggle. But so in terms of its location, the kind of sector we're talking about, the tenant, what may or may not be attractive as a long-term investment. So to give you an example, we had a conversation about, obviously there's a huge need for retirement living, for example, and all that sort of stuff. So and there was a big retirement portfolio that was traded recently, and I was very sceptical about that. I mean, if you're going to invest in commercial property and you don't have an in-house management capability to handle something like a retirement home,
which is surely quite intensive.
Very intensive. I mean, you need to know that the tenant's not going to default. It'd be absolutely disastrous. You're dealing with people's relatives and stuff like that. So I mean, that to me is just not on, right? So there are certain obvious things that I would just avoid. I think from our investor base, they're looking for security and all the rest of it. So I mentioned the convenience store aspects are really good. The other thing we do is, apart from all the serious due diligence, obviously the company structuring is absolutely critical. The kind of financing, the matching the property itself is essential, and the income, the covenant, and the rest of it, and the kind of type of building, and in the worst event, you're looking for another tenant to come in, and so it's got to be in the right place for anybody else to occupy it. So these are the things you need to look at.
A few stages to kind of get to a position where you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course it's the pricing. So you've got to make sure it's going to deliver the right kind of returns after all this. So we've got to.
Is that tough in today's market? Is there a lot of competition around
it's really funny because obviously it's polarized to covenant now. So people are really sort of focused on covenant, so that's driving all the demand there is for these areas of sort of McDonald's drive-throughs and all the rest of it. Costa Coffee now, of course, which will be great covenant. So there's a huge demand for this. So and that has driven prices down to make it quite competitive. But we're still seeing, we're out there combing these things. So we do get the odd thing that comes along, and that's really good. Going forward, I think there's tremendous merit in partnering with experts in the field. So I do a bit of that personally, and these are people I know and got to know really well, obviously, through the business, and so the more adventurous kind of opportunities are certainly out there, driven by experts in the field of commercial property, either developers and asset managers. Some tremendous expertise out there. And I'd like to think that down the road we could be partnering with some of these people and giving access to that to our investor base.
Good. So it gives you access to not only properties that the mainstream investor might not be able to access, but even some of the larger firms might not be able to access if it's a content-led or contact-led approach.
Exactly. So these are the very things that maybe institutions or public property companies and substantial companies would be looking at. And buying and both for capital, but mainly for capital growth and income, and by working those two things together, you can get some spectacular returns. So perhaps we could be, coattailing on the back of that, using our internal expertise to make sure that these are the sort of opportunities we could be offering to our investors and taking them through that process. So it's quite interesting. That's down the road.
A few opportunities coming up.
That's right.
Brilliant. That's good. That's it.
Okay.